Ladies, gentlemen, and friends, hello. My name is Procyon, and I'm going to be commentating the EFM quarterfinals for KTaNE League 2021. This is the one seed match. These are the competitors who made it to the tops of their groups and have made it to this highest level of competition. In the top left corner in red, we have Willie, who swept Group A and through the course of the entire regular season only dropped a single half point to Espic in Week 7. In the top right in blue, we have Username, who also swept his bracket in Group B. It was an intense season for Username, as the one seed for Group B wasn't decided until the very last week in a close match against Eden, who dropped to the 2 bracket. And in the bottom left, we have Asu in yellow. Asu got first place in Group C on tiebreakers, beating me, actually. And I dropped to the 2 seed bracket to leave Asu to compete with Willie and Username. So we've got some great competitors all around. And without further ado, let's go into the first bomb. A little bit about the format before we begin. 5 modules from the player who is favored in each bomb, and 3 modules from the other players. For a total of 11 modules per bomb. There are no staff picks this week. The first bomb and the audio for this competition both start with Willie. So let's go. Willie has a very scary list of modules, and in those scary list of modules, 4 of those modules got banned out. We will not be seeing any Cube, Great Void, Lousy Chess, or Reordered Keys throughout this competition. From Username, we won't be seeing any A Message, Hill Cycle, or 3 Cryptic Steps. Both Willie and Asu banned the exact same triplet of modules. Asu lost the most modules out of his list with 5: Colorful Dials, Logical Buttons, Module Listening, Roman Art, and Tax Returns. Asu very famous for that Logical Buttons solo of his. I'm sure that's the one that Willie and Username both banned. We take a look at the bomb now, and we see all 3 players going to planets, specifically Uranus. Planets, of course, is a solve-dependent module. Doing this for 0 solves eliminates an addition step in the beginning of the module. And who can forget our famous friends, 21 times 22. We see Willie has prepped a solve. I'm not sure if that's for 0 solves or for something a little bit later on. But, ooh, that's unfortunate for Asu. That's an early strike. 1 minute in. 14 minutes to go. Asu just lost nearly 3 minutes off of his overall time to solve this bomb. Asu's at a disadvantage in this bomb 1. We'll see how that affects him. We see Willie moving to Boomdos and Username moving to, that would be the close button. One of those pesky little close buttons will actually close the application and solve the module. And Username seems to have drawn first blood here with that planet solve, but Username also gets that second solve and close button. Willie's still sitting on 0 solves. We'll see how he does as he starts this Boomdas input. We see Asu going to Encrypted Morse. Which of those 8 sequences will it be as Willie continue his work on Boomdas, and AGU appears to be doing the same. It's going to be interesting to see how things develop over the course of this. All 3 competitors have their own styles. Willie is known for his speed, but so is Asu. But we'll see if that speed can also result in some strikes. And just as I say that, Willie strikes on passport control. That's been a tough one for him, as he's mentioned, and he takes a look back at planets potentially for 2 solves. So Willie and Asu with early strikes. AGU still running clean. We'll see how that works out over the course of this bomb 1. AGU's good on Boomdas, takes the lead at 3 solves. Willie seems to have recalculated his planets for 2 solves and solves successfully. We've got Willie and Asu both on Encrypted Morse. Asu finishing Encrypted Morse and getting to 2 solves and moving to close button. So it seems like all the competitors are starting in approximately the same place as AGU moves to Switching Maze. This is Switching Maze, not Shifting Maze, though we will see Shifting Maze a little bit later on. Asu on Boozle Talk, you've got to use those key A Boozle glyphs to figure out a message and then tap the screen at the appropriate time. And AGU is in his switching maze, and, well, we hope that color doesn't change. And it appears that color has not changed enough to slow AGU down that much, as he submits and moves to Boozletalk himself. As is still on close button, Willie still on encrypted Morse. Username moves to 5 solves, having the sum of Willie's and Asu's total, at least for now. Clear lead for Username, and we'll see if he's able to maintain it as he goes to RGB sequences here. Willie appears to be command Fing the sequence here for the Boozleglyphs. Hopefully he found it, and yes he did. He did eventually find his sequence as he moves to varicolored squares. Varicolored squares start with the color that appears 4 times, and then use a chart to figure out what your next color is. Willie is known for doing this very quickly, and oh, that's a friendly varicolored squares case. You can often get slowed down by varicolored squares quite significantly over the course of a bomb, so maybe it was luck, maybe it was skill. As Willie moves on to Sweet Wall, trying to find the valid connections in the wall, and he finds all 4 of the valid connections and jumps into the lead with 7 solves. That strike might not stop Willie from getting a first place on this bomb. We'll see if Asu can have similar luck with his strike as he moves to 5 solves. Asu's a minute behind AGU, having been the first to strike. So we'll see just what that means. Username is finding the red, green, and blue color channels of that RGB sequences. As Willie moves to digisibility. Find a number that is divisible by the number you click in all 9 sequences. We'll see if this is a tricky instance of digisibility or if Willie is able to get through it very quickly. Asu moves to his switching maze. That was a reading order solve of digisibility from Username, so maybe it's an easy solution. Maybe we got pretty lucky here. Username gets through the passport control without striking, unlike Willie, and has a 50-second advantage as he moves to encrypted Morse. Asu still on switching maze. And Willie is off to the interactive manual for the close button to try and move those rows and columns around to find just which one of those buttons is going to close his ad and which other 35 of those buttons are going to infect his computer with all sorts of awful malware and what have you. He's found the button, and he moves to switching maze, which would be his final module. He is exactly 1 minute behind Username, but he's got a 2-solve advantage. Asu is looking a little unfortunate over for this bomb. That early strike might have cost him a lot of time, but he's 4 solves behind Willie. We're going to need to see a bit of a comeback from him here. It just depends on how much of this encrypted Morse Username wants to decrypt before inputting his final answer. Encrypted Morse can be quite speedy of a module if you know the tricks to speed it up. So only get part of the read and know how to modify your answer at the very end. We see Willie going through this switching maze quite quickly. And that might be a final solve. Push is set. Is that going to be a solve? It appears to be. Willie strikes first with his solve of switching maze. So the question is, who's going to catch up to his time? 6:35. Ashley's already past that, but is Username going to get 3 solves in 65 seconds? Well, crazier things have happened before. We will see just what happens. But for what it stands, Willie strikes first with a time of 6:35 to go on his bomb. Username is inputting his encrypted Morse and has 50 seconds to finish that submittal and finish another 2 modules if he wants to get first place on this bomb. Those 2 modules are Sweet Wall and varicolored squares. He might get very lucky. He might get very, very lucky here. We will see just what happens. 30 seconds. Ash is down there on Boomdos, getting the read for that. He's 1 module and almost about 100 seconds behind Username in time. So it may be a bit of an unfortunate result for Asu, but we'll see if he gets the moral victory, at least, in potentially getting a better real-time solve than username. But Asu on that Boomdos, username on that varicolored squares before going down to Sweet Wall. It looks like username's got a little bit longer of a path than Willie did here. Not quite the 5 or 6 click solution, but 3 colors to go. That's a large, far-reaching blue segment, and username turns the rest of the grid magenta and goes to Sweet Wall. We saw that it was 4 presses, so username is just 4 clicks away from the second place on this bomb. Asu 2 minutes behind, still looking at this Boomdos. We'll see how it goes. That's 1 from username. Those red hearts are always friendly. Usually they're friendly, I should say. That 42 in Delta 3, you would usually want to click that red heart, and the same with the red heart in Bravo 3, but you've got some small numbers in the necessary section for the hearts. I should say, for those who are unfamiliar, Sweet Wall, you need to click certain squares based off of the colors, suits, and values of certain adjacent squares, and red hearts usually are good with the solution. You want to compare your relevant numbers to the starting timer of 15 minutes, but you see that 7 in Alpha 2 and that 14 in Delta 2, which prevent the red hearts at Bravo 3 and Delta 3 from being clicked. We see username at 3 clicks now. Asu's still on Boomdos, but starting input. Username does find the 4th valid answer and finishes his bomb with a time of 5:07 to go. So, in terms of bomb time, that's 1.5 minutes approximately behind Willie. In terms of real time, it was a decent bit more with that early strike from Willie. So we're going to watch Asu finish off his run, see if he can get the bomb solved with 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go on 1 strike time as he takes a look at the rest of this Boomdos, which he spent quite a while on. Hopefully he gets this right. And he does. Just 2 modules to go, which is Switching Maze and Digisibility. So he takes a look at that Switching Maze, using that seed to figure out his maze and his starting location and his finishing location. With 100 seconds to go, will he make it to the very end? He is walking, and he's not getting the color. Oh, he does get that first color switch. So he's got to switch which maze he's walking in, and we'll see if that affects his ability to travel. Click set. Is that going to be the answer? He moves to Digisibility now. 45 seconds to go.
Cool.
That's the solve. Maybe he lost
there's just not solving, so.
I believe we saw a reading order solution, so we'll see if Asu gets the same thing. 20 seconds to go now, real time. That's reading order.
Damn it.
Ooh,
Oh,
misclick.
I would love to give you that, but I really can't.
Lol.
How
did I solve that?
Reading order solve does get there in the very end. Asu finishes bomb 1, 33 out of 33 modules.
How did I solve that? What?
And Asu is very impressed with himself.
If I didn't
33 out of
strike,
33
I would have done
modules.
amazing that bomb. Oh my god. That was great. No doubt they both beat me by a landslide, though. Holy crap.
Unfortunately, a prophetic prediction from Asu as he lost by nearly 5 minutes to both competitor. But that's a first place for Willie, a second place for Username, and a third place for Asu as we move into Bomb 2. Hopefully we won't be hearing much more from Victoria Cohen Mitchell on Asu's side. As we go into Bomb 2, do remember that this is Username's Advantage Bomb, 5 of his modules, and 3 modules each from Willie and Asu. So let's go there now. So once again, audio is going to be with username for now. We see a bunch of tough modules on this. Username is starting out with Mazery and the complicated Venn diagram associated with that module. We say Willie going to Boozle Talk, and we see Asu still looking around. He goes to Nomai. Now, I have a special relationship with Nomai. If I had solved my Nomai, it would be me in this final, but Asu got the Nomai faster than I could, so he made it to the final as the 1 seed for Group A. We see Asu quickly going through this Masu puzzle and going back to Nomai. Willie has found the secret location in Nomai and is now messing around with the colors and solving the Masu in his spare time. Username still on the Mazery. Willie is the only one with a solve, having gotten that Boozle Talk. And fear not, those of you who are watching the Nomai, Nomai is famous for fake striking people. Those strikes are fake. Honestly, those strikes are fake until they're not. You just have to figure out what the valid rules are for your Nomai puzzle, the different things you can do at your secret location, and hopefully you can make it through without striking at all. We see username having gotten his first solve. Ass is still on 0 solves. We'll wait to see what can happen here. Oh, we've got 2 people on the Masu. Asu appears to have a solution as he goes back to Nomai, as we see Willie go back to the Mazery. Quick scan of username, and yes, that is a valid Masu as he goes to, that would be Unknown Cipher. So made by Espic, that Unknown Cipher. Gotta figure out some binary digits and subsequently input a sequence of letters of unknowns, as we see. I believe that was a solution that started with 69 in the 21, which is thematically appropriate given the meme nature of the module. Ass is still working on that Nomai. No one on any strikes. We see Willie on input stage for Mazery as he gets to 3 solves and takes the lead. Username inputting on Unknown Cipher, and Asu finally getting his first solve. Very good job for him. Willie moves to Unknown Cipher and remains in the lead with 4 solves, but username gets to 3. Asu's working through that Boozle glyph identification. You gotta hit the module at the correct moment based off of the English translation of those glyphs. That's a solve 21 from username as he moves into a tie with Willie for the lead at 4 solves. Asu's at 2. You'll notice on AGU's screen here we have got both Hypercube and Ultracube off of Willie's list. So we are going 4D and 5D geometrical from Willie's list. So those of the competitors who are good at spatial recognition and the zigs and the zags and all the aspects associated with Hypercube and Ultracube, those who are fans of that kind of information will be fans of these bombs, with both Hypercube and Ultracube appearing. Asu and his very fast typing are currently working on the console, which is one of the notable, interesting modules that actually takes input from the player's keyboard. There's not a lot of modules that are like that, but the console is one of them. That's a nice little unique twist about that. Fat Arlick. This appears to be the name of our hero, so that, of course, is a parody of our good friend Def, and the activities that he likes to get up to in his spare time as HEU moves to synchronization. Willie's searching all around that Ultracube. He's got 2 correct inputs so far. Asu is looking at his enemy in the console, and AGU is back on synchronization as Willie moves to 7 solves and the Hypercube. Probably a relief for him after that tough Ultracube solve. Use 5 rotations to get a sequence of colors and locations to click on the cube. Willie has gotten his input, and we will watch him click the appropriate colors and locations now. My goodness, that was a very fast input. Willie goes to 8 solves, a definite lead here in this bomb too. As he goes to synchronization, that comes from AGU's list. No strikes from any of the competitors so far, which is always good news. That's always lovely to see. Username solves synchronization at the same time as LW is working on it. Username goes to set up the console and takes a look back at the Nomai, which is still unsolved for username, as Willie goes to the bamboozling button, getting a sequence of colors and words and punctuation marks to try and click the button at the appropriate times in the first stage, and we'll be seeing the second stage later. Asu is back on the Mazery. Username continues to work on, it appears, the console and the Nomai at the same time. So that's a good strategy when working with Nomai. You have that 22-second timer that you need to follow. And so if you can work on 2 things at once in the downtime of those 22 seconds, then it's almost like you're solving 2 modules at once. You do have to get a little lucky with the color of what the correct color for the mystery location would be. We'll see if light blue is the correct one this time around. Asu enters input stage for Mazery, so we'll see if he can make his way to the right location. And yes, light blue is the correct color for the mystery location. So if username can get the same sequence that turned his bar light blue and go back to the secret location after disabling the time loop, then that will be a solve for username, and that will be the remainder of the Nomais completed for this particular bomb by all 3 players. Quick status check as we hit the halfway mark into the timer. We've got Willie at 9 solves in first place, and username in second place at 6 solves, Asu in third place at 5 solves, but Asu is in the input stage for Hypercube. Username's trying to get to the sequence. Username may have forgotten how they got that light blue. Ah, no, just as I say it, there's a light blue. But it's not the mystery location. We'll see how this goes. We've got green. We have got... oh, we've got the mystery location. And a true strike. You can't move away from the mystery location, so that's unfortunately a lot of wasted work on username's part. We're going to have to see if username can get the Nomai solved before the time runs out. He's got, let's see, he's got about 5 minutes of real time left. Willie has moved to the second stage of this bamboozling button, but that's going to be a tough one for username. That Nomai strike means a lot of time lost, a lot of time wasted, and Asu is ahead on time and equal on solves. Username takes a look at Hypercube, may have given up on the Nomai or just taking a break from a while. Willie gets to his final solution, which would be the console, and Asu is trying his hand at the unknown cipher. A second strike for username on his Hypercube, and this bomb seems to have fallen apart for username a little bit. We'll see if he's able to make a recovery, but at 2 strikes in 1.5 time, the time differential between username and Asu is going to continue to grow. We'll see if Asu's unknown cipher is correct later. We'll see if username can recover on this Hypercube. That's 3 stages down. He's 1 button press away from being at 7 solves and taking the lead, at least for now. Yes, that is 7 solves for username. Asu is at 6 solves on Ultracube. HU's taking the time to go to the bamboozling button. That's a module that can take a really long time if you can't click fast enough, or if you need to take a look at some of the rules again. Willie is taking a look at his weapons. That'll put him at a solved bomb in the first place. No, fair. Okay, I stand corrected. That's a very fast bamboozling button stage for username. He's on stage 2. We'll see if he gets to stage 3. Asu joins him on working on that bamboozling button. Willie taking a look at the stats for the hero and the enemy again on this console. Appears to be doing it interactively, and he does use the correct weapon. And our good friend Fat Licker, or Fat R-Lick, has defeated the enemy of the AEIOU. That's the second first place for Willie. And that is going to guarantee Willie at least passage into the next round of competition, the next round of competition for Willie. And we'll see if username or Asu is going to be the person who joins them. We take a look at the clocks. We see username is now 1 minute behind Asu, having gotten those 2 strikes, but 2 solves ahead. Asu, I believe, solved that, or at least came up with a solution for that unknown cipher earlier. We'll see if it was a correct one as he inputs the synchronization. Username taking a look at Ultra Cube. There might not be enough time for username to fully solve that Nomai again. Asu taking a look at the timer and syncs the synchronization up. That Ultra Cube is ready for input, and he begins that now. Or he takes a look at the bamboozling button. See username go down to 2 minutes. Asu still at 3.5. 1 solve difference. 2 correct inputs for username so far. That's 3. This Ultra Cube is very, very tricky compared to its brethren, the Hypercube, with extra directions and extra dimension, but we see username go through it with no problem at 9 out of 11, and he takes a look at Nomai now. It does appear that Nomai and console are username's remaining modules, so maybe trying to get lucky here with a Nomai solve, or at least checking a color from the secret location. No, it appears that we're going to, let's see, console or Nomai. Oh, he's trying to work on both simultaneously, but with 30 seconds to go, is this going to be a strategy that works for him? Asu's got 2 minutes 20 seconds to get 2 solves. We'll see what happens with username, who just seems to be trying to guess. And no, unfortunately, that is going to be blowing up at 9 solves for username. Couldn't get lucky with the Nomai, couldn't get lucky with the console, ran out of time at the very end there. So it is down to Asu. Can Asu get 3 solves for the win over username? 2 solves to tie. A little bit of the situations here.
Okay.
With the scoring from last season, we'd have Willie at 2 points, username at 4 points, and Asu at 6 points. If the rankings do not change, he wants as few points as possible, golf scoring being involved here. And
a green ping zag back.
Asu has 80 seconds to work out his final answer. I should make a correction to something I said earlier. Both Willie and username had their 14 modules both banned. So that may be Asu getting rid of both of the 14. So that's my mistake from earlier.
Okay,
not
yellow
be seeing
zig
any
from right.
14 boss modules here. 1 minute for Asu to get 2 solves. Starting with this Ultra Cube. He's got 2 inputs. He's got 1 input left.
Ping zig back red. That's ping, that's zig.
That is
That's a
absolutely
solve
right.
on Asu. That's a solve on Masu. That
Nice
is
guess,
not
but that
a
is
solve
not the answer, I'm afraid.
on Unknown Cipher.
Well,
So that is going to be a tie
well,
on bomb number 2 between Asu and username. It looks like he got close. It looks like he
I want to be
had
sure.
4
So
slots correct on Unknown Cipher. And he did have the first. And he
It's
did
hugely
have.
frustrating. Hugely frustrating, isn't it, for yourselves?
Yeah, it is very frustrating, Victoria. That was very, very close. He had slots correct on Unknown Cipher, and he had the first stage of Bamboozling Button. Time was the issue. It wasn't even because of strike time. It was just because of normal time. Just ran out of time. That's a very tricky thing about these bombs, especially when you have such a competitive group of players like this. But looking at the standings right now, we have Willie at 2 points. And then Username and Asu both tying there. So, for what needs to happen, since 2 players are moving on from this round, the top 2 players, we know the top 1 player is Willie. Username is 1 point ahead of Asu right now. So Asu needs, if Asu gets first and Willie gets, and Username gets third, then Asu moves on over Username. If Asu gets first and Username gets second, or if Asu gets second and Username gets third, it goes to tiebreakers. But if Username ties or beats Asu, then Asu's season will have come to a conclusion, and it will be the Group A and Group B 1 seeds that move on to the next round. So, a lot of things that can happen in this Bomb 3. We'll see if Willie is able to sweep his competitors once again. Bomb 3, let's go.
Oh, hold on a minute. I should have beat a band button instead of cube. Oh well.
Well, some information about Asu's band set there.
I don't know what happened here though. Probably just let's talk about. I don't know, man.
Asu doesn't know, man.
Recording. Yep.
Maybe it was the no
Okay.
my. Who knows?
I
Move
swear,
into
if
the
I see
final
a
bomb
colorful
here.
dials on this bomb, I'm going to cry. What is that?
Asu
What is that?
has opinions
Oh,
about
levels.
colorful dials and has an emotional reaction at the
That
presence
did
of a
not
coffee
get
box.
me, though. What the
Speaking
hell?
of no my, there it is. We go into the spawn 3 and we see a bunch of tough modules. This is Asu's favorite bomb. Asu should hope to get first or second place on this. Wow, Willie is already solving this 21.
This is the
We've got
bomb
a red
where
safer.
I eat shit.
Well, we'll see if that ends up being the case. Asu, Willie has already got input on 21. Asu's going back to no my.
Let's go to my comfort mode. I'm so glad that I didn't beat this.
Red cipher.
Are there at least 3 batteries?
100 levels of diffusal.
Let's double check.
Boolean Venn diagram.
No.
Encrypted equations. Coffee bucks.
That is
21 once
shifting,
again.
so I'll eat the elevator.
No
Whatever.
my coffee bucks.
There
This is
are
a
no basic
shifting
batteries.
maze
That's
this
false.
time, not a switching maze. Palindromes and DNA mutation and another very colored squares. So Asu has got his 5 modules. We'll hopefully see him succeed there. We see Willie already at 2 solves in the first minute. Username and Asu
Please
not
be an easy
yet
one.
getting a solve in the first minute, but Willie goes to Nomai, and he has already found the secret location. And we'll wait out that 22-second clock to see if he can find a good color. We see username inputting on red cipher, CHA, charge. Username hopes to charge forward into the next round.
Oops.
Willie's inputting his palindromes. That's going to put him at 3 solves. Username with the Boolean Venn diagram goes to 2, and he goes to
Don't
100
expect
levels
that
of
to carry over
diffusal.
from another age.
No green at all in that DNA mutation. That's a nice little thing to notice about the colors, as Willie tries to mess with the color of his Nomai.
Oh. Wait, why is this not carrying over? Oh. That's so right, I can probably just fix it by doing this. Okay.
So will green be the right color? As Willie goes to colored squares.
Oh, did he fix this
joins
thing?
Willie at 3 solves. Takes a look at that 100 levels of diffusal. Willie not necessarily getting as lucky
Okay,
as
I spent way
previously
too long doing that.
with this varicolored squares,
didn't
but
hear
very,
the
very quickly
thing go
solving
off,
and going
so-
through that table. That fast input. I don't think we heard the green light go off for this Nomai, so Willie will have to try to find a different color. And that's who finally gets that palindrome solve going. It is a great mathematical fact that any integer can be written as the sum of 3
Is an
palindromes.
acceptable answer. That's absolutely brilliant.
That's it. I'm trying to assassin.
With Victoria Cohen-Mitchell's approval. Not sure if that was from the Nomai solve or from the palindrome solve. I believe from the Nomai finding the good color there. Asu is hopefully going to solve. Yep, he disables the time loop and moves on to 21. So that will be Asu going to 2 solves while Willie and Username are at 4 solves each. Willie starting his red cipher, Username working on his DNA
Is the right
mutation.
answer.
Wait, that didn't... Oh.
Well, maybe Asu disabled the time loop incorrectly there. But hopefully that will be the correct solution from Asu to put him to 2 solves. We've got Username inputting and solving the DNA mutation to take the lead. That's bad news for Asu, who is 4 solves down on
What's 9
Username,
plus 10?
needing to beat Username. I say that as he goes to 2 solves behind, solving that Nomai and the 21 at the same time.
God.
But Asu needs to pick up the pace, get a little bit faster here, and maybe hope Username gets unlucky with this Nomai like
Odd, even, odd.
he did before. Willie solves the red cipher to tie himself up with Username once again. Asu would appreciate Willie solving quickly. If Asu gets first place, Willie gets second, and Username gets third, then Asu goes through to the next round.
I'm gonna cry.
Just something to note. Asu a little bit upset with this red cipher. Willie appears to have found the secret location and the correct color and will be going to 6 solves as he begins serving coffee. Username's walking around in the shifting maze. Asu's still at 3 solves. Taking a look at
Welcome to
coffee.
Coffee Bucks. May I take your name,
2
please?
customers. Asu is very well
Jen.
known for having a great coffee bucks solving process and being able to get this done in 2 cups of coffee almost every time. Username's trying to navigate and use his probe.
Enjoy your
to
coffee.
figure out
Have a
the
nice
walls of this
day.
shifting maze.
Welcome to Coffee Bucks.
As we
May I
watch
take your name,
Asu
please?
very
Bit
quickly
too much
get
time.
this
Jen.
coffee buck solved. Willie moves to shifting maze as well.
Enjoy your coffee. See you around.
Wait, there's a berry? Oh.
Our host is,
So.
having been the barista, is very happy to have served a good cup of coffee. Thank you very much, Elias, for your diligence in the coffee house. Username is solving the module he selected. That would be this palindromes. Ooh, having struck. I missed what he struck on. That's unfortunate from Username. So he
GGPM.
is the first strike of the round, but he is 1 module ahead of Asu with just over 8.5 minutes to go. We'll see how that affects his ability to solve this bomb. 2 solves ahead now is Username. Asu is starting to be in danger here. Asu is running out of modules to be unsolved for Username. Asu needs a win over Username here. That strike is good news for Asu, but is it going to be enough? That is the question.
Oh.
Maybe fixing a mistake on the red cipher is Asu. Strike on this Nomai would be great news for Asu, but we will see just what happens. We know that that bar has to be red. Username has found this good location. Asu is inputting charge. Goes to 5 solves with just over half time left. We know that the color is red. The username has found red. That's bad
Red with
news for
RBY.
Asu. Asu needs to pick up the pace here. That is the story of this bomb so far. Willie is in first place. 0 strikes, 7 solves. As we approach halftime, Willie is in the shifting maze he's working around.
Please load!
Encrypted Equations manual appears to be giving Asu some difficulties here. Willie taking a look at DNA mutation. Username still in the shifting maze. We see a lot of glyphs going on in this encrypted equations here. It's going to be a lot of different steps to translate those symbols into numbers
What am I
and
doing?
operations. It's very easy to get tripped up here. It's very easy to get
EWS.
tripped up by the rounding rules of encrypted equations as well. We'll see if that comes into play. Round after every step, so you might have a final answer of 23.9996 or something along those lines. You never know what can happen in this encrypted equations. Encrypted equations being one of Asu's modules, this being Asu's favorite bomb.
That's a plus.
The 2 modules behind
plus, right?
username and 3
Yes.
modules behind Willie is Asu.
Current.
Maybe that's about to be 3. Yes. 4, actually. Asu goes to 4 modules behind Willie. With 6 minutes, 20 seconds to go. Username continues to lose time and has under 5 minutes of real time for his remaining 4 modules, which right now is varicolored squares. This is greenless DNA mutation. How fast can Asu complete this module? His own choice for this season. The 1 seed from Group C in danger. 3 modules behind the 1 seed from Group B. Username has 4 colors remaining on this varicolored squares. The red is gone, but he is in a bit of a loop potentially. Bit of an unlucky case of varicolored squares. Can Asu gain some time from this? We will see just what happens. Still 4 colors left. A solution from Willie on the encrypted equations as it moves to 100 levels of diffusal. Username is down to 2 more presses to solve the varicolored squares, so unless he loses a 1 and 2 gambit and clicks incorrectly, no. That is a solved varicolored squares for username, and username is a coffee bucks and an encrypted equations away from securing his place in the next round, which would eliminate Asu. We already know Willie's the 1 seed from this group. We will see just what happens as Asu begins inputting this DNA mutation. 1 click to go. But he does not choose to click it, instead going to Boolean Venn diagram. We've seen the strategy of leaving information for later work well earlier in this season. I believe it was James who used the strategy effectively, and we do see Asu having that encrypted equations prepped. 760.2 was the answer that Willie solved on. So we know Asu is at effectively 7 solves right now, but still behind username. Username on that encrypted equations. Will he get tripped up as Willie begins inputting 100 levels of diffusal? And that is wrong. Not a correct solution from Willie. It appears that he fell at the end of the sequence. So Willie is going to get a new 100 levels of diffusal generated, but with 1 fewer letter. Only 5 letters to deal with this time. Willie has got about just over 3 minutes of real time to solve 2 remaining modules. Username about 1 minute, no, about 2 minutes from where he is right now. Asu has the most time out of anybody at 3.5 minutes, but 5 solves to go. One of them is going to be that encrypted equations that's already solved, and another one could potentially be that DNA mutation, which only has 1 input left. We've seen a pattern of strikes come out from Willie. Willie is incredibly fast, but can be strike-prone at times. We've seen a little bit of that during this video here, during this sequence. It hasn't affected his placement, but is that going to be a problem for him going into the next round of the tournament? While we have a moment, the structure of the next round of the tournament is the top 2 players from this sequence, which we know is Willie, and Mike is looking likely that it's going to be Username, which, strike on encrypted equations. That's good news for Asu. She remains on 0 strikes.
05 is Oscar.
We know it's going to be Willie. It might. There's a good chance it's username, but Asu can pull out some late bomb heroics. And then it's going to be the top competitor from the Seed 2 quarterfinal, and the top competitor from the Seed 3 quarterfinal. Those are the quarterfinals between Teppel, Makebow, and Jasper, and then the quarterfinal between myself, Edan, and Espic. Username is at 10 solves and will not solve that encrypted equations and will time... Oh, no, he does solve that encrypted equation with 11 seconds left. Wow, so that is some heroics from Username. We see Willie having solved with 1 minute 57
Is
to
the
go.
right answer.
So Asu has a minute and a half to complete this.
Oh, I think it's going to solve it. Well...
Will Asu force a tiebreak, or will Asu unfortunately come in third once again?
Oh my god, get out of here.
It's a tricky job trying to do base 64 conversion in this short of a time frame. He's got 75 seconds to go on his bomb, and he doesn't know it, but he's got about 1 minute exactly to beat Username's time.
Look, the 0. That's not the uppercase O. I don't think it's lowercase O. I'm gonna go with 0.
A little bit of ambiguity on what that round symbol, the penultimate character in the seed, is for Asu.
6 is... That's not fucking happening in this world.
Seconds to go. Those radars go off, but it is not enough, and Asu will get third place on this bomb, securing the next round, placement in the next round for Willie, the 1 seed from Group
You've
A.
made it too difficult for yourselves.
Alright,
And
cool.
Username, the 1 seed from Group B. That is the end of the line for Asu, a valiant effort by him, but the Group C 1 seed will unfortunately not be able to make it into the next round. So, in terms of Group C, that leaves it up to myself and to Jasper to get placement in our matches, but unlike this semifinal, the other 2 semifinals, only 1 of the 3 survives. Not 2 out of the 3. Lots of exciting matches to come, lots of exciting weeks to come. Willie and Username, get practicing. You're going to see each other again. As we say goodbye to Asu, we wish him a fond farewell from this season of KTaNE League, and we hope that he comes back in the next season. That's going to be the end of this broadcast. I'd like to thank everybody for watching. My name is Procyon, reminding you all to stay crazy, stay cruel, and have a lovely rest of your day. Bye-bye.